Yesterday when you went to my channel, PJ, it wasn't featuring the stream, right?
No, I didn't see it. No. But if you have the link, go ahead and send it to me so I can start posting.
Stream, right?
No, I didn't see it. No.
Okay, so here's the link. Double check it, guys. I think I think this is the correct link. All right, let's share it. Let's share it around. The stream is live.
Yep. But if you have the link, go ahead. Hey, change the title. It says multi-streaming with restream.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay, cool.
I'm putting the links in the description too. And updating the tags. Save. What should I call it? Dwerve Sandbox stream?
Oh, just a Dwerve Kickstarter stream.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, I thought we were going with a free A Sprite key this time.
Oh yeah, A Sprite. Wait, how do you pronounce it?
I think it's A Sprite. I legit think more people would join. I still get people asking me almost every day for a key. I used to give them away, but the developer was like, "Dude, you're asking for too many keys."
I lost you guys. You guys there is just quiet.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't dare say anything
Okay.
now that it's live.
Hey, I already got the first question in the chat. Is the game out yet? No, it is not.
It's not out yet, but you can play the demo. You can play the demo on our Kickstarter. Just click the link in the description. We're going to be showing off some new towers and new enemies today that aren't in the demo yet.
Can you kill the old guy?
No.
Someone asks.
What's that stretch goal? How much is that?
Yeah.
Kill as
1
Oh
million?
man, that's messed up.
I'm just sharing the link around.
How much is that?
Yeah, me too.
Give it the retweet.
We're gonna get going in a second. we're just posting, get people in the stream to hang out with us. All right. So embed this in the Kickstarter too.
Yeah, the game engine
Right.
is Unity, and yeah, boss rush mode is going to be really fun.
Let me see. We should be on Steam too now.
All right, I think we are just about ready to begin. Yeah,
Yeah.
you done
Yay.
posting? I'm done. I'm done posting. I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. All right, guys. So today we're going to be showing off a bunch of new towers and new enemies that were not playable in the demo. And with me, we have PJ, Morty, and Enche, the other developers working on Dwerve. That includes the artist and the musician. So if you have any questions for them, feel free to post in the chat and they'll be happy to answer them. So I'm going to get started here just showing the towers and stuff like that. And I think, PJ, you're going to be, or anyone that's addressed, just answer the questions in the chat, yeah?
Yeah, I'm already we already got a lot of chat, so I'm gonna start scrolling through it and
Brief
see what we
answers this
got.
time.
Yeah, I know. I was spending way too long answering questions. I just fell behind. So let's see. So yeah, and she already mentioned this, and Peter too. So the game is not out yet. There is a demo on Steam, and we are in our last day on Kickstarter. So give the demo a try. If you enjoy it, consider backing us. We are, I think, just 3,000 from the Nintendo Switch stretch goal. So if you want to play this game on the go and you have a Switch, consider backing. We are so close. Can you kill an old guy? No, you can't kill Esmond. He's your grandfather. You shouldn't want to kill him. Let's see. How's our day? Great so far. And do we plan? Okay. Do we plan to have DLC for the game? Yes. You know, assuming the launch goes well and people want to see more. Yeah, we want to keep working on it. We want to keep bringing it to more platforms. So, you know, that hopefully we can reach the Switch goal, but also PlayStation, Xbox, even Android and iOS, and of course, we want to keep adding more content. So DLC is, you know, it's on our list. We would like to do it. Is that a graphic? The old man's head disappears behind the face. That is a visual bug, that we need to fix. This sandbox level in general is really just for like play testing and experimenting with new turrets and new enemies. So it might not be as balanced and polished as the demo that you all had played, but we just really wanted to show you some of the cool new turrets and traps and enemies that are not in the demo.
Yeah, we created this early on to see how well certain towers would perform in certain situations. It's pretty fun though to mix the different towers. Here we can see two towers that weren't in the demo, and it is the bear trap, and I think the chakram tower is the name of the other one, right?
Yep, chakram. So chakram's like a spinning blade that you throw.
So the chakram has a knockback, and it was knocking enemies off of the level. But another awesome feature about the chakram is that it has blades that bounce around. Hopefully in this little room, they're going to be extremely lethal. Here's a new enemy too, the skeletons. They're very fast and pretty strong, honestly.
Yeah, I think the chakram might be one of my favorite range darts because it's so cool to watch the blade just bounce everywhere. Will you make a multiplayer mode? That is on our wish list. Maybe eventually. It is definitely not on our current plans. You know, we're a small team and we really want to focus on making the main story a really polished experience. Like I said earlier, if the game launches and does well, we definitely want to keep working on the game. And one of the things we would like to do is add, you know, some sort of co-op or versus game mode. Who made art for your game? We actually had several people. So we used to work with Sun Pixels. He did a lot of the earlier enemies and the character portraits. Peter did a lot of the art earlier on before we even started working with anyone. And he still helps out with like concepts or you know, environmental sprites and whatnot. And then now we work with Enche, and he's been doing pretty much most of the art. He did a lot of the art and animations for the newer characters, which is about half of them now. We've been making a lot of new characters, and he also has done a lot of the environmental art. So it's not in the demo and it's not in this little sandbox thing, but you've probably seen it in screenshots or GIFs.
We're gonna show off a bunch of cool concept art. That's going to be probably some of it's going to make it into the art book. So after we show you guys these towers and the new enemies, there's going to be a bunch of cool art to show off.
Yeah. So we've been working on some cool stuff. So you're going to see what Enche has been doing with that.
This right
Would
here,
you guys be
this right here, Slaw's shop, is where you can pick from several different towers. And this, you can see it in the trailer, but it's not in the demo. Basically, this is how you're going to choose your loadout. You'll be able to choose your loadout throughout every level. We didn't put it into the very beginning of the game because we didn't want it to be overwhelming. We thought it'd be more important to teach you how to use specific towers instead of giving the player access at the very beginning of the game to all the towers. And you can see that there's upgrades here. These are placeholder for now, but you'll be able to sort of create a skill tree and kind of choose how you want to use every specific tower, which is going to be a really nice RPG aspect to the game. Some of these towers, they don't have the upgrades there yet because, like I said, they're placeholder, but it gives you an idea of the customization that you'll be able to do for each tower.
Yeah, one example is like the crossbow turret. So you can have an upgrade maybe for like a penetration arrow that goes through multiple enemies, and then on the flip side, you might go for like increased attack speed. So the whole point of the turrets is to not only make them stronger, but also customize them to cater to your own play style and strategies and synergies that you like within the towers. Would be interested in doing a written interview? Possibly. Shoot us an email at contact@halfhumangames.com and we can talk more about that. How far in development is Dwerve? So we plan to release in next June. So a lot of the core systems are actually done. So our AI and our combat and even our dialogue and all that stuff. So the main things we need to do move forward is really just polish and building levels. So writing out the rest of the story and content and building the tile maps for the levels, designing the battles. So thankfully it's a lot more of the fun stuff. Really just building cool levels. So that's what we still have to do moving forward. Will this game be on Android? Hopefully someday. There's no immediate plans, but it is something we would like to do. We think it would be a lot of fun on Android and iOS.
We've tested it on mobile and we got it working on mobile, but we're not going to do the port as soon as we release. It'll be after release.
Yeah, because we really want to focus, like I said, one thing at a time. We're a small team. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew. And we really want to make sure that we make a proper mobile port. We want to make sure it's performant and that the controls are really intuitive. So we really want to take the time to make sure that we have that we can do it properly. I guess that kind of goes into this question. How big is the team? We have two full-time developers, Peter and myself, and then we also work with Morty, who does audio. So that's sound design and music, and then Enche. Enche does a lot of our art and animations. So moving forward, it'll do like pretty much most of the enemies, the bosses, a lot of the really key art for the game. So that's 4 of us total. How long does it take on average to make a new sprite and animations for them? Enche, you want to answer that one? How long does it take to make all the sprites for, let's say, an enemy?
Yeah. Well, it all depends on the enemies. They kind of vary a lot. I had some like the skull crushers and the skull splitters, the really big guys. Those would take upwards of 16, 18 hours. But for the average enemy, for the smaller ones, they'll usually be around 10. Get all the animations depending on how complex they are. Some guys just walk around and explode. Some of them spin a whip around. So
an average enemy has like, I think PJ and I counted it once. It was like 45 sprites, right? So
I think it's like 50 now because we added like the zap sprites.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like 45 to 50 sprites for a single enemy.
Yeah, it's quite a bit since we went top down.
We'll get to take a peek at that later. Actually have one of the enemy examples in that little folder there. Get to see the
cool. I included a GIF of the work in progress for the troll assassin in a Kickstarter update. So it'll be cool to kind of see the next iteration of that. I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't seen that. So it'll be nice to see a fresh enemy because we've been focusing so much on the Kickstarter. We haven't been posting as much new content as we normally do when we're like focused on development. So that should be exciting.
Enche and Morty, try posting links to your social media, and I think I'll see them pop up, and I'll be able to approve them. I'm curious. I kind of want to test that out. I think I can approve links.
I'll post the Kickstarter link too. So yeah, again.
Yeah, PJ, check your permissions. You might have permission to post links today.
Nope. Oops. Remove any web addresses and try again.
Did you check your email?
Oh.
You might need to accept something.
Okay.
Here, I'll post them.
I do not see an email. Did you do the contact@halfhumangames email?
Yeah, I think so. But here, I'm posting it right now.
Okay.
Morty,
Okay,
do you want me to post your Twitter or your SoundCloud?
I guess you could post my SoundCloud.
Can you link me to it? On Discord, and
Sure.
I'll post it in the chat. I don't remember what the URL is.
Can we expect DLC? Hopefully, hopefully all goes well and people want more, and we, will happily, keep working on the game and really keep adding content and getting it on more platforms. Character skins in different colors. Do you mean for the main character? Maybe. I don't know. Dwerve is like a specific character, so we might not allow like character customization. Then again, we did consider having it so you could change his hair color, so you never know. Will Dwerve come to mobile? Hopefully. What does the tower with the skull head do to the enemy? Skull head?
I think that's the
The goat trap?
Yeah, I'll
Okay, the goat trap.
I'll show that off right now.
Yeah, that one's a pretty cool one. Is there controller support? So yes, you can play the game with controllers. Some people have had some issues, so we definitely need to iron that out moving forward. But you can expect the final game to have full controller support and key mapping. So some people don't like the default controls, and the final game will allow you to remap the control scheme however you like.
So that's what it does. It's a trap. It's a barrel full of dynamite with an animated goat head on it. It's basically to have enemies get distracted. It's really powerful, but of course, once it explodes, it's completely destroyed.
What item would you recommend to get with the Apprentice Kickstarter tier? That's really up to you. It was funny because when we were designing the pledge tiers, we were like, all right, which one would be most popular? And then Peter was like, I think the book would be coolest. And Incho was like, I think the shirt and poster would be coolest. And I was like, oh no, the Snacks box is coolest. And then we were like, oh man, we can't decide. So that's why we designed it as a pick one. It's really up to you. If you like art and lore, the art book will have a lot of like, kind of storytelling in it and stuff. Go with that. If you're more like a collector and you were a big fan of the Super Nintendo, the SNES box, and of course, if you like, want a cool shirt, it's really up to you. They're all awesome.
I would recommend the shirt. Enche designed all the shirts as well.
Yeah, he designed the shirts and the posters. Then there's multiple designs that you can choose from. So you can go to the Kickstarter and check out those designs and see if you want any. What's cool is you can get any of those designs in any color, and I think we're even allow the option for like a regular T-shirt or a V-neck or a tank top. So they'll have lots of options for that. Oh, and I think I just said this, but if I didn't, you can choose any color you want, like any fabric color. But yeah, there's multiple. I think there's 4 T-shirt designs, and I think we're only showing 3 poster designs, but we actually are gonna have 1 more. So there'll be 4 shirt designs and 4 poster designs that you can choose from. I like playing with my Steam controller. Would I be able to use that?
Try plugging it
We
into
don't
the
have
demo.
one.
Yeah, try plugging it into the demo and it might support it. So in the demo you can plug in an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller and it'll work. So I'm assuming it would work with the Steam controller, but we haven't tested it, so you need to let us know.
I will say that some people did have issues with controllers. Like I said, we will definitely address that for the final version. And if the Steam controller doesn't work, we know it's pretty common, so we can get our hands on that to make sure that it does support that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a charming tower that converts the enemies? That's on our wish list. We have like a bunch of tower ideas that we wanted, but we kind of had to prioritize because we can't just keep adding a bunch of towers, especially again because we're like a small team. But that is on our wish list. Maybe we'll get to it. It's definitely a cool idea. Old school red alert. Are you talking about the Tesla turret? If that's what you're talking about, I know what you mean. I used to love that game, Red Alert. Do you guys use Monday to manage your small team? Is Monday? I think I've heard of that, but no. The answer is no. We just really chat in Discord, and we use an issue tracker to manage our tasks. We have like milestones and stuff. We do a really vague version like sprints, but we don't really have a specific formal process.
Game Hamster, thanks for watching us in India right now. I assume it's like 9 p.m. there or something. We did a stream yesterday at 8 p.m. and we decided to do one today at noon because it would give the opportunity for a lot of people, a lot more people to watch it in different time zones.
Who is NJ? Do you mean P? Oh, NJ. Oh, okay, you fixed it, Morty. Yeah, NJ. I was like, you mean PJ? All right. Are you still planning a Switch release? If we get really close, we'll probably do it. I don't know about like a specific threshold that we have, but you know, if it's really close, we'll probably do it. I think we can still get it. Let's see where we're at. So right now we're at 47,257. So, oh, we went up. 47,311.
Let's
so
go. We're so close.
Yeah,
to
what is that?
Switch.
2,700 more. And we still have 14 hours. So we have a solid, you know, that's a lot of time. Hopefully, I think we can get it. You know, if you guys want to go, you know, go back if you haven't, or maybe bump your pledge to get some extra swag. Help us out. I love Dwerve. It inspired me to make my own game. That is awesome. That really means a lot to us. I don't know. It's so cool because, you know, we as game developers, like, our games are obviously inspired by these other games that we used to play, like, you know, Orcs Must Die, Dungeon Defenders, A Link to the Past, and even indie games. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Dungeon Warfare. That's a pretty awesome tower defense game. That was a really big inspiration for us. So it's cool to like see that inspiration pass forward. I guess it's like, you know, these indie devs and other game devs inspire us, and then it's cool to see that our game and work has inspired, you know, other people. And especially with Pixel Pete's channel, it is amazing to like see how many people are in your Discord server like, hey, Pixel Pete got me into game dev, or I started doing pixel art because of him, or he really helped me grow as an artist. So that means a lot to us.
I'm glad that it somewhat crosses over the pixel art to the game dev. It seems that a lot of pixel artists end up being game devs as well. It's pretty cool.
You guys don't have to answer this question, but do you have unused items or enemies? I don't think so. We might have enemies that aren't like are kind of work in progress. That aren't,
The
like,
poop
done
enemy.
yet. He's not in the game. We have a slime. It's basically okay. So we have a slime enemy that's in the demo that you guys have all seen, but there's like a skin, and he's a poop. He's a little poop. We're probably gonna polish him up a little bit before we put him in, but yeah, there's a couple enemies that need a little more polish, but I wouldn't say they're not like done.
Wait, you're saying you're literally polishing a turd?
Yes, we're literally
Yeah.
polishing a turd.
Nice.
So, we have. I guess it's something the question that we have like as you see a ton of turrets and a ton of enemies, they're just not put into like levels or cohesive battles. We just have like this sandbox level and a couple of other like test scenes that we use to experiment with different battle designs. But a lot of content's there. It's more about organizing it into an actual experience. Peter, can you make a video on character animations? That'd probably be better for like Inche. Although
Yeah.
you should probably give it a try too. That would be like great for you to do too. Because
It'll
you're pretty good at animation,
It'll be a Pixel Pete video featuring Enche.
right? That would be pretty fun. I will say a lot of people in Discord and stuff, they always message me like, hey, can you ask Pixel Pete to do a video on animation? So you know, it's people would love to see that. And that'd be cool if you guys kind of covered that together. Inche has done some pretty insane stuff. Like, Peter is an awesome animator, but like Inche did some crazy stuff with our Gromble boss. Like, oh, and this guy too, the Ogre Skull Crusher that's on screen. You know, so his animations are pretty epic.
You can see a bunch of new enemies here that weren't in the demo. These guys are pretty tough though.
Yeah, so we have the Ogre Skull Crusher guy with the giant pillar, the Observer, which is basically a Kakani Minora, a beholder, but you know, he shoots the giant laser beam. I don't know if you guys can see, but those skeletons are being spawned by the Necromancers. You know, the little guys walking around the hood and the purple flame hands. So again, this is a sandbox level, so it's a little chaotic. It's not really balanced to be like a. It's not really meant to be like a balanced level. It's really more for just testing out enemies, testing out turrets, and just experimenting with stuff. So I know it looks a little chaotic, but you know, don't worry about that.
I bet I can beat it. I think I'll play through it a little bit more, and then we have a bunch of new art to show you guys. Some concept art and sprites that Entry was working on.
Someone was asking about Easter eggs. We have a couple like a hidden chest and hidden potion in the demo, but we definitely want to add more. We really want to reward exploration and solving like optional puzzles. So you know, if you're not into that stuff, whatever, just keep going, play the main storyline, fight the battles. But we really want to add a little side content here and there, so that you can find some, you know, whether it's items or health potion or even like additional lore if you're in that sort of thing. So we definitely want to have Easter eggs.
It's so hard to stay alive on this map. I think I spawned way too many enemies. It's the necromancers. If you don't get rid of them early, then they keep spawning more skeletons. Oh, actually, there's a limit to how many they can spawn, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what I set, and we didn't even test it. It might be like there might be too many, but I think it was like they spawn 4 at a time, and they can spawn up to 12, and then they'll wait until they die and then respawn a set.
Okay,
Something like that. I don't even remember what I did, to be honest, when I was setting that up. Love the lighting, especially the flames. Reminds me of Moonlighter. Ooh, Moonlighter is a really fun game. that game's awesome. But thank you. We are using, for any devs out there that are interested in the lighting system, we are using a Uni asset called Smart Lighting 2D, and it is awesome. Yeah, there's lots of configurable options. It's performant. I'll be honest, we got it when it was like early on in development, so it took a while to get to where it is now, but it's finally like awesome, easy to use, performant. It's pretty great, and the dev is awesome. The developer who makes and maintains it, he has very thorough documentation, and he will get back to like your questions like instantly. So, you know, highly recommend that if you're dev and you want some lighting for your 2D game. This 2D, again, some people ask if like we use like 3D, like some games like Enter the Gungeon use like a 3D kind of setup. Dwerve is strictly 2D. We're using Unity tile map and sprites. Have you guys seen Beyond? I don't think so. Is that a game or for Game Maker engine?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, a lot of the artists we messaged on Twitter, but we also made posts on Reddit, etc. But if you're an artist, Twitter is a great place to get discovered. That is how I discovered Enche. I got on Twitter like a year ago. I used to not use Twitter at all, but now it's the main platform that I use.
Will this game have multiplayer? We kind of answered this one earlier, but maybe eventually. It's not on our current roadmap, but maybe eventually. How did you guys implement a grid system for object placement? So we're using a Unity tile map for like painting tiles, and then we're using it's honestly just a script. We just have a script that snaps it to the grid. So it's literally called snap to grid, and then we just like when we drag an object on, it'll automatically just kind of snap it to the grid. So that's how we place objects. It's just a little simple script. Looks like you can walk through turrets now. So how it works is you can walk. If you stand on the turret, you can stay there, and then when you walk off it, there's like a second or two where you can walk back and forth. Also, when it first spawns, there's like a second where you can walk through it, and then it becomes static. We might let you walk through them. Some people have requested it, but then again, also some people, I don't know, it might feel a little weird. But right now, there's like a split delay where you can walk through it. Will the bosses be static? Well, Grombo will be. We don't know if the other ones will be. We don't even know what we're gonna do for the other bosses, to be honest. But
yeah,
honestly,
it's gonna probably be big boss battles that are unique, and for the most part, I think we're gonna try to make them be sort of like in a in one area. But I don't think we're gonna have all the bosses static. But there's not a reason for us to do that.
Yeah, we're probably like we want each one to be different. So right now, Grombo's kind of like baked in the ground, and you know he'll be attacking you with like his root, his root kind of like tentacle like roots, and then also be throwing rocks at you and stuff. But we want each enemy to be different, so we probably won't do that for future bosses. Yeah, honestly, it is a bit weird to think about, like, how we're gonna make this work with like tower defense combat, but we'll figure it out. We're gonna experiment. We'll play test a bunch of things. We're actually really excited to that because we haven't gotten to that point yet. But we'll see what works and what doesn't, and we'll come with some cool battles. Why did you pick Unity over Godot? Unity, we've been using it forever, so we're very, very comfortable in it. It's it's built by a giant company that has tons of documentation, tons of Unity asset stores. So
Yeah,
it
Godot
just
is
has a lot
really
of
new,
support.
and the team behind Unity is huge. It's a huge company, so there's a lot more updates and a lot more development going into Unity. It makes it's a more powerful engine. It might have been possible for us to make Dwerve in Godot, but we definitely think that it was easier for us to do it in Unity, especially since we have so much experience with Unity. I did it,
Yeah.
dude. I beat it.
Did you even beat it yesterday when you tried?
I didn't beat it yesterday. All right, I think I'm gonna go to the art folder now. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Any
Sounds good.
recommendations where to get sound effects for games? So there's this really awesome sound designer named Morty, and if you need sound effects, you should hit him up. But if you know, it can be more expensive to pay a sound designer. So if you're looking for like a bunch of sounds cheap, you can just look on the Unity Asset Store. But it is better to have, if you have a sound designer, your sounds can be more consistent. So if you just grab sounds from the internet or random like sound
Post something really
assets.
quick, PJ. I think I can right click and add you as a moderator.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. You may try post link again.
No, don't post a link. Just post just like something. Say hi.
Wait, what? Say hi.
Yeah, don't post something that might get hidden.
Hi.
Yeah. So add moderator. Half Human is now a moderator for your channel.
Can I try a link now?
Yeah. Try now. I think it might work.
Let's try a link now. Kickstarter link. Hey, there it is. Cool. So yeah, back to the sound thing real quick. Generally, if you want a consistent sound style, it's better to get a sound designer. And Maury's awesome. But if you can't afford that, there is a Unity Asset Store. You can usually buy a giant pack of sounds for pretty cheap.
And there's also sites like asoundeffect.com.
Oh
where they have
yeah,
like packs with really good sounds and stuff. So
there's
if you just
freesound.org too. That's a good one. All right.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, in a pinch. Yeah.
Enche, do you want to talk about the art files as I open them up?
Yeah. So the one you have open right now, I believe, is a little game maker project I've actually been using to test out the animations to make sure they all link together. So a lot of the GIFs and animations you've seen on Twitter have been recorded in this little project.
I noticed if I click, particles come out. That's pretty funny that you added that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this right here is the Stormbolt imp. I don't know if he was in the Sandbox level we were just playing, but what's cool about
I
this
don't
guy
think
is
so.
okay, yeah. So, this guy's really cool. So the Stormbolt imp, he shoots that lightning bolt, and when it hits a tower, it'll actually jump to the next tower. So the lightning bolt, like, basically
It
chains.
bounces
It'll
around.
jump to
Yeah.
tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bounces. So it kind of can be difficult to avoid, and it can take out, a cluster of turrets pretty quickly. So this guy's pretty deadly. What does it mean for you devs to see that Dwerve page on Steam? Oh, so it's awesome. I remember when you first set up a Steam page, it's like legit. It's like, okay, our game has a Steam page. This is like real. It's like the next level of like, oh, we're working on something and it's a little concept to it actually has a store page set up. So that it's pretty cool to get to that point. And it also, if you're a dev yourself, it's very important for marketing to collect those wish lists. So it lets people start following your game, which is super, super important. So it's awesome. It's really cool to see it on a storefront, a digital storefront.
Oh yeah, I should have been paying closer attention. In the animation project, you can use the left and right arrows to switch through the scenes.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the Game Maker one?
My bad, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me go back to that. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so
This is
before
awesome.
Enche goes into the sprites, he does like a quick sketch to really explore, like what the anime will look like. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
There it
Yeah.
is. You got some of
So
the animations. You got, I think, the Skull Crushers and splitters and the mushroom
I
guy.
love that particle effect.
Which one?
Oh, the poison clouds.
Oh yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome. That's actually okay. So this is from a different indie game called Sword of the Necromancer, and we did a crossover with them. So this is one of their enemies called Champion Bomb, and they have the Ogre Skull Crusher from our game in their game. It's another beautiful pixel art dungeon crawler. I believe it's a roguelike, so procedurally generated levels and permadeath. But they have a pretty awesome game. But yeah, the enemies from there.
I love that fireball animation. It's so good.
Yeah. So that's always a fun part.
This explosion is AoE, right? So it can damage, I think, multiple towers if it's close enough, right?
Yep. It's AoE. What's cool is I don't know if we have this in here, but when the Hellfire Imp dies, he himself explodes. His little belly expands and he just boom. So that's pretty neat too. And of course that does AoE damage as well.
The Skull Crusher and the Skull Splitter. I love those names.
Yeah, that guy does a massive AoE, and this guy does more like a kind of long lengthwise AoE. All right, let's see questions. Pixel Pete, any chance to see isometric characters? That is a bit different from our current style, but maybe you could try that.
I haven't really thought about that, and I don't think I've ever drawn isometric pixel art. So if I do
You
a
can give it a
tutorial,
try.
if I did a tutorial, it'd literally be the first time that I do it.
It would be cool to see like an actual like low res pixel art isometric thing, but I can only imagine that would be harder than what we're doing right now with like the low pixel density.
Someone asked, do you prefer 4-directional movement over 8? So, there's already like 45 sprites per character, and if we had to draw sprites for 8 directions, it would be insane. However, even with 4-directional sprites, you can still have omnidirectional movement. That means you can move any sort of a direction. So, in general, we did try to do 4-directional movement with Dwerve originally, and it's something that we experimented with. We experimented with 4-directional. I think we even tried 8-directional, and we decided to go with Omni after having the original playtesters sort of test it out. And if you back the Kickstarter, I believe it's the $40 tier and up, you can become a beta tester, so you'll be part of experiments like that for helping us decide maybe future boss battles or etc.
Yeah, earlier on we like restricted the movement, thinking it would be like super like retro and cool. But when you start playing and fighting, it's like very restrictive, and it was like, nope, not a good idea.
I'll say personally, please don't make me do 8-directional movement.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I was like, and ideally it would be cool to do that, but it would just be a lot more work. It would take way longer to do these characters.
Yeah. Actually, do you wanna show off the skeleton file? That'll show people what it's like on the inside of all the animations.
Oh, good
This
idea.
one right here,
That,
the
the
skeleton
Ace
sprite?
Yeah, the Ace Sprite. So you can see how many animations are in there.
Yep. You can see all the frames.
I'm gonna move this down. I like to have it on the right, so it feels like I'm working in Photoshop, but for animation, it's so much better to have it near the bottom.
All right, let's see.
There we go. So yeah, all of our enemies, we keep all the animations in one file for the most part, unless they need like a big separate attack animation. You can just see how many frames are in this thing, especially with the skeleton.
Oh my gosh!
Long spot animation.
If I drag it to the right, you can just see how many different kinds of animations there are.
Someone was asking about the animations being done with sequences in GameMaker. Just to clarify, the GameMaker scenes that you saw, those were just for like testing, and Che uses those to test out the animations and visual effects. We use Sprite to make the art, and then we import that into Unity. And then we have a thing that basically takes the Sprite JSON animation data and then converts it to a Unity animation.
And for the GameMaker project, they were just simple looping animations. I have no idea how to use sequences. Too new.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that in GameMaker either. I used GameMaker in high school, and that was like 10 years ago. So I have not used the new GameMaker. I think it's called GameMaker 2 or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's gotten pretty good.
Yeah, it has.
Besides, like, the sprite editor, it's pretty cool now.
I felt bad though because I opened it recently and I was intimidated by it. I didn't know how to use it anymore. I was like, oh, I was like, they added so much. I couldn't even do stuff in it anymore. I'd have to relearn it.
Yeah.
So someone's commenting on Beholder. So we met Observer. That's the Observer enemy. But it was funny when we were first coming up with that, we didn't even know it was copyrighted, and then we later found out, and then we changed it to, a floating eye with horns, and then someone was like, "Hey, that's the Cocodemon from Doom," and I'm like, "Oh shoot, that is." So, but we just like, it looks cool. We might change the color later, make it a little more unique, but yeah, we're calling it the Observer enemy.
Yeah, and you can actually see some of the early observer designs in the monster sheet. That'll be in the enemies folder if you want to take a peek at that.
This one right here, or is there more? Oh, monster sheet right here. I see. Oh,
Hey.
there we go. There we go.
That's
Monster
pretty
sheet
cool.
two.
This
Man, I
monster
got
sheet is
Oh,
this
there
monster
he is.
sheet is awesome.
Yeah.
This is where we explore ideas.
Yep. So this sheet is super useful. Always go to this when designing something new, because you just have all the references of the other monsters to keep the style consistent. And tried to organize this a little bit for you to see some of the process. So, like with the gob wasp
Oh, I love
at
it.
the top left, you can see the top row is all the previous references. You got the wasp, the old noblins, the previous design, and then as it just slowly descends, you can see the thought process. At first, I tried to make it like a more cutesy looking enemy, and then the feedback was make it uglier. So then you see the next one, you see the next one, and the bottom is the final design. So that's how that progressed.
It's really cool seeing exploring ideas when we're working on enemies. Just seeing the different variations and directions we could take. So as you can see with the Beholder, before we realized it was copyrighted, we were adding the classic tentacles, and we're like, wait a second, let's not do that.
Yeah, too similar.
There's the new assassin.
Yeah, the new assassin is going to spin around with a. I already forgot the name of the weapon. PJ, do you remember what it's called?
Oh, the Kusarigama.
Kusarigama. Yeah, so we're gonna have a troll with a Kusarigama.
Just to clarify, a Kusarigama, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, I probably am, but it is a chain with a sickle blade or scythe, sorry, a scythe blade on the end. So yeah, that's what the troll assassin wields.
Oh, there's the poop as well.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, where
there
is
it
it?
is.
Yeah, there he
Right in the middle.
is. You little turd enemy.
Best slime ever.
Yep. Oh, and for the necromancer, that was a fun one. Because I remember designing it, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. You thought, wait a minute,
It's a little too big.
way too big.
Yeah, the first version was like massive. We're like, no, smaller. It was one of the first. It was one of the first enemies you did, and we're like, no, smaller. No, smaller.
Yeah. Just like, wait a minute, put him up next to Dwerve for a second.
It's amazing though how you took the big version and like kept like it the same really, but just made it smaller. Like it's
a lot of the
crazy how
details are still there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Someone suggested like an NPC that would say, "Welcome back," in the same way that Pete does.
That'd
be really funny.
I think we need to do that. We need to do that.
Yeah, we need to write that down somewhere, I think. Yeah. That was Laika in the chat.
We need to add like the one dialogue that has a voiceover. What? I'm not going to try. That was butchering it. But we need to record Pixel Pete actually saying that, like the one line that has a voiceover.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the Grenader. So you can see at the top, you got some of the early attempts at making it readable.
Yeah,
and
different goggles. Yeah, it looks great.
stupid looking goggles on the left there. And this one was a pretty quick design actually, because the main feedback was just change the color of the goggles, and then from there it was just making it look more readable. So you can see the top design, you can see the different poses,
The grenader's going to be
and
able
that's about it.
to throw the bombs over walls, similar to the mortar tower. And we try to have every enemy sort of do something a little bit different. Either have AOE, ranged AOE, knockback, explosions. Units with shields, they block arrows. If you've played the demo, you'll notice a little word pop up. It'll say blocked. So there's some enemies counter certain towers, and we really like kind of having that rock paper scissors sort of mechanic, so that certain towers really shine and really excel against certain enemies.
How do you guys manage burnout and scope creep? um, uh, okay, so a lot of people will like try and work as hard as they can when they're like, starting out or whatever. Do not do that. Make sure you have time. You take breaks. Take an hour off for lunch. Don't work till like 1 a.m. Take regular breaks. That's super important. You know, it can be hard to motivate yourself to work, 10 hours a day, but at the same time, don't push it to like 12 or 14. You're gonna burn out like that. So, enjoy your weekends. Maybe, when you're first starting out, you might have to work Saturdays and Sundays, but don't go 8-10 hours Saturday and Sunday and during the week. You are gonna burn out. You're gonna make produce worse results. It's going to take you a lot longer to program features, or you're going to have trouble focusing. So make sure you do take breaks. With scope creep, we basically will add any idea we think is cool to our issue tracker, but we have a specific tag for wish list.
Yeah, we
If it's not
prioritize them pretty
absolutely,
good.
yeah, exactly. So you got to prioritize. So if it's not absolutely crucial to the final game, it goes in that wish list or that later tag. As in, we're not even going to think about this right now. So it's important to prioritize, and the way we do that basically is we make a milestone and we say, hey, what can we get done in 2-3 weeks? We find out where we make a list of the most important things we need to do, and we tie it to that milestone, and we focus on that and that only. And we kind of do that each time we complete a milestone. That way, we're constantly prioritizing and not letting extra features kind of creep in.
I think with in regards to burnout, at first it is kind of hard to get stuff to focus and consistently focus. And part of that, I think, is you have to build endurance for it. It's kind of like going to the gym every day is going to be really hard at first. But once you create a habit of doing it, then it's much easier to sort of to keep doing it. The thing I like to call it is create habits of success. It's one of those like self improvement things. So PJ is amazing at not getting burnout. Uh, he's able to just like if he has a task, he's able to work on it until it's done, and it's something that I really admire about PJ. And
Thanks, man.
but it's definitely a skill that you have to get that you have to improve on. It's so hard not to get distracted nowadays.
It takes a lot of practice. I think like Peter said, it's a habit of success. Like you need to like catch yourself when you're on Facebook scrolling, like, hey, get off Facebook, or if you're scrolling on Instagram on your phone, hey, get off Instagram. It takes a lot of practice to kind of get in that habit of not getting distracted and being able to work long hours. But at the same time, it's important to not work too hard. You will burn yourself out and you will make worse results. And it's definitely happened to me. It's happened to Peter. When Peter was working on the trailer, he was working so long and hard on it. So it was important to take breaks to make sure that he keeps up the quality of editing and all that stuff. It's very important to
Yeah, when you
make
get
sure you're
burnt
not
out,
working
quality drops real fast.
real fast.
I think we didn't
Have you
use all
dreamed?
these sprites in the town.
I noticed that. I know we need to add. Well, a couple of them need to be. They were designed for like indoors, and we didn't really do that yet. But I did forget to add that big what's it called, like a furnace or something. But yeah, we need to add that in still.
Hmm.
Also on the village props and the gates, on the timeline you can flip through the originals, so you
Oh,
can
nice.
see the comparison. And the originals, were they done by some?
Yes, we.
No,
Yeah.
no, that was actually done by a different artist.
Oh, okay.
Danny, that art. Yeah, we worked with them for a little bit.
But we
Their
didn't.
style was a little bit different than we wanted, but Danny is a fantastic artist. But his style is a little more towards like higher res pixel art. It's like a different style, but he's an awesome artist, and I believe he's working on some pretty cool another pixel art RPG game that looks beautiful.
Yeah, so this is an example of
So this is
Enshay going over art to make sure that it fits the game. So sometimes I'll draw something, sometimes we'll have someone else draw something, but Enshay sort of always makes sure that it fits sort of like the same creative vision, the same art style, to make sure everything's cohesive. So like these designs, they're cool, they're great ideas, but it did need a pass just so it had that saturation of Dwerve.
Mhm. This is probably my favorite workflow in the entire just project, is when there is a design already there and it's a good design, and then it's just a matter of making it consistent with the rest of the environment and cleaning up some of the line work. That is some of my favorite stuff to do.
Sorry, go back to the Gromble things, dude. That was so. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, on that you can actually press space and it'll zoom out. It'll toggle between.
I'm like 6 seconds behind, so sorry. I'm back at Gromble already.
Okay, so here
We were brainstorming ideas for how Gromble would emerge.
Yeah,
We had some pretty funny ideas.
Yeah, we were
None of
thinking that
that.
the nose would stick out of the ground.
My contribution, that little sketch there.
Have you dreamed to have a winter mold? I'm actually not familiar with that, so I can't really comment on that. I don't know if you guys are winter mold, Warcraft 3 stylish tower defense. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but if we check it out, maybe it might give us some inspiration. How do you manage pixel perfection in Unity? We don't. So, we kind of cheat. We zoom in and out. We rotate sprites. We have non-pixel like visual effects and the lighting. So if we add that, all those things look super weird. So we kind of decided not to do that, just so we have a little more flexibility. At the end of the day, we want it to be SNES inspired, but we're not like super committed to like
the
emulating it
limitations
exactly.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. How does Unity handle Z-sort? Quite easily, actually. So, real quick, you can basically set the sorting in the graphics settings so that the higher y-axis is behind stuff that's lower on the y-axis. There's also a ton of sorting options for Unity tile map, and then there's also something called a sorting group to make sure all the sprites of a same entity, like a character, like let's say you had a different sprite for their arm or their weapon, it'll make sure they all render together. So Unity makes it very easy to handle sorting for 2D games. What do you use to?
Yeah, this is the old Gromble. Is that what you were gonna say, Enshay?
Yeah, I thought I threw in the new one, but
This is cool though because it shows the process.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
so-
It's cool to see how you created these sections, which made it easier for you to animate before you went in and added all the details.
yeah, that whole little folder of Gromble just kind of shows the process of just how it went from an idea to just a rough pixel sketch to a rough pixel animation, and then just hours and hours of polishing. That's the process.
Yeah, here's the final one, and it's so good. It's one of the best pixel art animations I've ever seen.
So glad that came out nice.
There's attention to the littlest details, like the earring shaking, and that just I hope people notice stuff like that.
How do you or what do you use to import a sprite animations into Unity? So that's just like a custom tool that we wrote. Although I believe I did find one on GitHub. So if you look around GitHub, you should be able to find something.
We're not importing the animations though. We're taking the exported sprite sheet and then making that into Unity animations. But right?
Yeah. Basically, so basically, we have a custom tool that takes in the JSON data. So you can export animation data as a JSON file, and the tool basically parses that and takes that JSON data and makes an actual Unity animation. So yeah, so it's a custom tool. If I polish it up, I will throw it up on GitHub. But right now it's not clean, kind of messy and stuff. But like I said, I did find another one on GitHub which might work. I didn't really try it, to be honest.
This is a really cool little demo showing the
Yeah.
parallax.
Parallax, whenever you try to do it, it's always going to be finicky. It won't cooperate, so you can't really just do it in a Sprite. You got to have some sort of testing
Right.
ground for it, and
I love
this is where it was.
I love Sprite, but it's just missing a few features that Photoshop and other programs have. The biggest one is tiling.
I think they're working on tile map support though.
Yeah, it's been forever though. I'm waiting.
Yeah, hopefully it comes out soon.
Come on, David, get on it.
Destructible environments. So yes, we have a little bit of that in the demo, but we definitely want to add more of it. So it's not going to be like, full on destruction. I mean, kind of destroy whatever. It's more like an ambush or a surprise. So let's say you're in the middle of a battle and there's a wall like kind of protecting you on one side. All of a sudden, like that wall might explode, and then enemies might spawn from there. So while you can't destroy walls, we felt that might kind of break the mazing, I guess, of the tower defense.
Yeah, we
there
wanted to
is
make sure
tower
people.
destruction.
We wanted to make sure people didn't exploit walls. So like if you could destroy a bunch of walls, then it would kind of defeat the path that the enemies have to take. And the paths that the enemies take are really important in Dwerve, because in a typical tower defense game, the enemies are stuck to a path. But the only way that we can really make enemies follow a path is by doing things like walls or water. So if you could destroy the walls, then enemies wouldn't follow a path, and it would make them almost worse against a lot of towers, or make it possible for you to kind of exploit the fact that they're not going to follow a path.
Yeah, so the tower destruction is in the game, but it's like, controlled by triggers. The players don't have control over that. Do you have a tier for a physical copy? So no, we don't, but we do have the collector's edition. So it's a SNES style box. It comes with a actual SNES cartridge, but the SNES cartridge is for display purposes only. So you can't actually put it into a SNES, but it is an actual, like the shell of a SNES cartridge, and it comes with a physical game manual. So and all copies of this SNES box and manual are signed. But if you want like a actual physical copy for like PC or Switch, no, we are not doing that. At least not right now. It maybe if we would have to look into it, but no plans for that currently.
I think
Tips for developers to. Oh my bad, go.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end the stream pretty soon. And then tonight, I think we're gonna end up showing the Hall of Heroes, which is going to be a room for everyone that bought the, what do we call them, statues, monuments, that bought a monument on the Kickstarter. So I'm kind of eager to show you guys what it'll look like, so you can envision the Hall of Heroes for every.
You want to go to the Kickstarter and kind of just show them it real quick?
Yeah, actually, let's do that.
And then we can actually show them it in the actual engine later tonight.
Yeah.
Because some people might not be able to come hang out tonight. If they're like in Europe or something.
Right.
Let me try and catch up on these questions before we wrap up. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, tips for developers to escape tutorial hell. That's really a matter of like playtesting. You gotta like playtest a lot and see what the problem points are, and then just brainstorm ideas to that solution. I know it's kind of a vague answer, but it's really different for each game depending on your mechanics.
By the way, everyone in this chat has a bio in the Kickstarter, so if you want to check out the music that Morty's doing, or Enche's art on Twitter, there's links in the Kickstarter as well. I posted them in the chat, but if you're just dropping in, just letting you guys know.
Is the ending already planned? Will there be an opening ending, a second game? Could the mother be alive? Maybe. We have the general
speculations.
I know, I love it. So we do have the general synopsis of the entire story. It's still subject to change as we kind of flesh things out. But right now, or at least after the Kickstarter, our priority is to flesh out the levels, and that includes designing the actual dialogues and specific events and quests that you as the player will encounter. So will the ending be open? No, probably not. It'll have an actual conclusion. Maybe we'll leave some opening ending because we would love to make a DLC or even a sequel. We're too busy focusing on finishing Dwerve and making it awesome, but we're definitely open to all of those possibilities.
People are like, keep streaming, more people are joining.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
I don't know. I don't know. If we kept streaming, I think I would play through the game.
Do it. Yeah, let's play through and then we'll wrap it up after that. But yeah, man, if people are watching, we're hanging out. Let's keep going.
See the speed run, Pete.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I can do it, guys.
Oh, so to clarify real quick, the Hall of Heroes, it's an in-game try-in for backers. If you back the $60 tier, that lets you pick one of the physical rewards, which can be a shirt and poster, the SNES box, or the art book. That will put your name on the rune wall. The rune wall will have a giant list of all of our $60 tier backers. Next up is the rune stone. So if you do the $90 tier, you get your own rune stone.
Yeah, let me show that here. Yeah, there's the rune wall. That's basically our credits page, which is pretty cool. And yeah, here I'm showing the rune stone now.
Yeah, so the rune stone will have your name and a kind of custom phrase, and then after that is I hope I'm getting these tiers right. Yeah, the $150 tier, you get your own statue. So it can be you or a character you're created. You can make up the name. It can be your name. As long as it doesn't break immersion or is inappropriate or anything like that. But yeah, you get your own custom statue.
Someone's gonna try something inappropriate for sure.
I figured. And then up from that is the $350 tier, and that's the monument. So the $350 tier includes I think all the physical rewards, including the airy hoodie. And you also get the monument, which is basically a giant statue. So it'll be way bigger than the regular statues, and of course it'll be cool with it'll have the cool glowing etchings in it and lighting. So yeah, if you want to
in the game, when someone walks up to this, they're gonna see your name. This plaque right here, basically, it's gonna be a spot where if a player walks up to it, they can see your name. So it's not just the graphic. You legit do get the people will see your credits, your name in there. So you can name your statue and even maybe have a little sentence or something. I think that's the highest. I think that's the highest monument. I'm gonna start playing through the story now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we still have a decent amount of people watching, I think I should just play through it.
Yeah, that sounds good. So kind of answering some questions. So is multiplayer planned? No, it's not planned, but it's not entirely out of the question. If the initial launch does well, we would like to add that eventually. If this releases on console, are there plans for hard copies? Maybe. Maybe. That'd be cool to do, but also, it's a bit more work. It's a little more expensive. We will see. It's not. I'm not gonna say never, but it's definitely not planned. But maybe.
We'll decide a lot of stuff after the initial release, mid next year sometime.
What concept do you guys struggle to understand in Unity? Unity has a lot of different systems, and it can be overwhelming when you're learning any new thing, whether that's the new pathfinding system or the new entity component system.
We've been
doing it for a long time, though.
I think
for a very long time,
over 6 years. We've been using Unity for over 6 years, so we're not new to Unity. we're pretty experienced with Unity, and that's why we love the engine. It's because we're in so deep now that it'd be really hard for us to switch to a different game engine.
I think the closest thing we can say is even though we're pretty comfortable with the engine, whenever we pick up a new asset, it takes a while to figure out how the asset works.
You have to read the documents on it.
Are you guys gonna make SNES style carts yourself, or does a company make them? No. Excuse me. Sorry.
By the way, how is the game audio? Is it good? The game's not too loud, is it, guys?
Yeah. What do you guys see what they say?
I think we tested it, and it should be pretty decent. I can put the volume up too if it's too low.
So back to the SNES cards real quick. Yeah, we're basically having those made. We'll be packaging them ourselves and shipping them ourselves. That's why we can sign them, so they're all signed. But yeah, we're not actually making the actual cartridges ourselves. Will you port it to Switch? Let's see. Let's see where we're at. So 47,336.
We're close.
So we need roughly. Oh, we went up a little bit.
We're
47,400. So about a little over 2,500 to go. So if we make it to 50,000, we will do Switch, or very close to that. But it looks like it will happen. We still have 13 hours to go. So fingers crossed we can make it. Who came up with the tower defense idea? So the idea is inspired by a couple of games. So obviously the
super
overall
quick. Sorry
aesthetic.
to interrupt you. I just want to show something in the game. If you guys walk around the game, there's hidden dialogues right here. Grandpa's workbench. And so there's a little bit of lore that you'll be able to see throughout the world if you go and look at stuff. Another one is over here. If you go to the clothing, it says "still not dry." So there's a lot of little fun dialogues around the world. So if you ever replay through the demo, walk up to objects that you think Dwerve might have something to say about.
Yeah, and also with the village, we want to allow you to go inside the buildings, and each building will have. We want to have like a inspect mechanic where you can walk up to, like, let's say a bookshelf and inspect a book and kind of get a little bit of lore from it. So in the final version, you'll be able to explore the village, inspect a bunch of different things, and get some story and lore that way. We really want the world to have a lot of depth to it. So back to the inspirations for Dwerve. So A Link to the Past is obviously one. When it comes to the mixing the RPG and tower defense genres, there's games like Orcs Must Die and Dungeon Defenders. A lot of our turrets and traps were inspired by Dungeon Warfare. They have amazing traps that are very like tactile and visual. So the idea for even though they don't have a punch turret, the idea for stuff like the punch turret came from them. They have like a push turret, physics-based stuff that's very, very not just like stat-based turrets. We wanted to be really cool looking turrets.
Yeah, by playing games like that, it was a good way for us to see what works and what doesn't. So we played a ton of tower defense games, just to get ideas and sort of see what other people did.
Looks awesome. Starting work on pixel art myself. That's awesome. It's really, really cool to see that a lot of people finding Pixel Pete's tutorials helpful and being inspired by like our art style and whatnot. So when you get to a point when you have something to show, please share. We have our Discord server, and we have channels for pixel art and programming, and of course,
you could post a link to the Discord server.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. So we have channels for like everything, for ask us questions, demo feedback. So we have a very active and welcoming community on Discord. So definitely join it. And feel free to share artwork there. So I just posted that in the chat. Who came up with half human name? Peter did. I don't even know how we originally came up with it, but we just wanted a funny name, and
we came up with a lot of names,
like 100.
Yeah, another one that I remember that was pretty funny was Unicorn Cavalry.
Yeah, we came up with some pretty wild names. We wanted something that was kind of funny and memorable, and we thought half human was especially good because when you think of like half human, you're like, oh, half human, half orc, like like a fantasy thing. But we were like, oh, instead, let's make it literally like the logo will literally be half a person. So yeah, we just thought that was funny and silly. So we went with it.
Yeah, I think we wanted the name and the logo to be something funny and witty, so that was kind of the inspiration for a lot of the ideas that we had for the studio name. That, and we wanted to make sure no one else was using it, of course.
Back to the translations. Yes, we want to have those like professionally done. That way, they're done right, and they can, are done on time as well. If there's additional languages that people want that we don't include in the list for the stretch goals, we will consider crowdsourcing those. But that's something we need to kind of decide later on. Because right now, like barely any of the story is written, so we need to finish like writing the dialogues and the quests, all the text before we kind of get to that point.
Right. We don't want to have people translate dialogue that we end up changing. That would just make us feel so bad.
Did you guys know you want to make a tower defense style right away, or just bounce ideas around? So we were actually spent a while prototyping different ideas and brainstorming different kind of game ideas. So we were kind of just experimenting a lot and kind of not waiting, but actively pursuing experimentation until we found an idea that we're like, hey, this is it. Let's focus on this. Let's push this and run with this idea. So it did take a lot of experimentation. We also played a lot of games to get inspiration from other indie games, to kind of see if we can find an idea that was new, or not. Or didn't have a lot of presence in the market. So
right.
Obviously this is something different, and we're like, hey, this is unique. It's different. You don't see too much of this.
It's also not too different, because you got to be careful that you don't make something too different, because then it's also harder to get people to want to give it a shot. So we knew that people who like tower defense games would be interested by this, and then because it has a story and a character, we knew that people who like RPGs would be interested in this game.
Have we shown any boss fights? No, we don't have any boss fights in the game yet. We showed some sprites for Grumble. He will be the first boss in the game, but he is not. We are not done. We are not finished implementing him, so you can't actually battle him yet. Hopefully in future demos you will be able to get a little taste of the boss battles, but so far it's just teasers, like his little reveal animation. Who does the music for the game? So that is done by Morty. Morty, I don't know if you can. Let me drop your SoundCloud link again.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So yeah, Morty does the sound design and the music, and you can actually listen to his tracks on his SoundCloud.
I guess we should mention that most of the sounds in the demo are placeholder, right?
Yeah, so a couple of the sounds in the demo are still placeholder. We have like a lot of sounds in the demo, so it's
yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to keep up. So a lot of them are still placeholder.
Yeah, but it still sounds quite nice, I think.
Yeah, it took a while to balance the sounds. Thankfully, we're using an asset called Master Audio, and it makes it really easy to add sounds and variations and to balance them and whatnot.
Yeah, but if anyone wants to hear the music, I put it on the Bandcamp, and it's also on the Kickstarter page, like a few tracks.
Yeah, so yeah, there's I think there's 3 sample tracks on the Kickstarter page, but of course, the final game will have a full-fledged OST.
We thought a lot about what kind of music we want for Dwerve as well. It took us a while to sort of get a style for Dwerve, get a vibe for Dwerve. For example, we didn't, even though it's pixel art, we didn't want to do chiptune. It's another one of those things where we didn't want to limit the game to what was capable with the Super Nintendo. We wanted to make sure that our sounds were modern, that they weren't limited by any sort of past technologies. A lot of those
it's a bit tricky to know like where to draw the line between modern instruments and like chiptune stuff.
Yeah, and still have that nostalgia, right?
Yeah. And someone asks, does the music play randomly, or is it connected to the location?
Yeah, so how it works basically is depending on the environment, we have like a normal track and then a combat track. So when you enter combat, it'll transition from a little more peaceful, a little more, kind of tranquil kind of track, to something that's a little more intense. In general, we want to keep the music atmospheric so it doesn't get like super energetic, especially because you're in combat a lot. We thought that would be a little taxing. So we went for like an atmospheric kind of approach with a blend of some Norse instruments and a little bit of synthesizers. How are you balancing the tower stats? Playtesting battles and designing them, and playing them over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's something that we still need to do. We because we kept adding more and more towers. Every time we add a new tower, we need to kind of make sure that it plays well with the other towers and try to find exploits in tower combinations, etc. It's pretty hard to balance tower stats, and we kept balancing them all the way up to the demo, and we're still going to be balancing them moving forward.
If I donate $15, do I get a code for Switch? So, assuming we reach that goal, which I think we will, we're pretty close. So yes, the digital copy includes it for any Reach platform. So basically, you can pick PC or Switch. And how that works is, at the end of the Kickstarter, we'll send a survey and we'll basically ask you, hey, which one do you want? And if you got a higher tier with, say, the shirt, we'll ask you, what size, what design, etc. So that survey will come after the Kickstarter ends. Thank you. Congrats on hitting 45. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. We have a lot of people in Europe that are fans of the game, and we really want them to be able to play it in their native languages. Obviously there is a lot of languages, and we can't do them all, but we're going to try our best to, make sure that it gets localized well to those 5, and maybe in the future to additional ones. But thank you. Is the alpha going to be free on Steam? Well, right now the alpha is available on Steam. This current demo.
I don't know if we're gonna take it down. I kind of think we should.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take it down just because as we improve the game, we want we don't want like this older version that still has like a couple of issues and a little rough around the edges out there. We want to take it down so we can polish it further. Steam has been doing these events regularly called the Steam Games Festival, and we'll probably participate in that next fall. So we do want to keep having demos, but we just want to take the time to update it, polish it, and give a fresh experience. I'm finally caught up on questions, so feel free to ask any questions you have for us about Dwerve, game development, Kickstarter, whatever. How long has it been since you first started working on the concept? About 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. We were working on it part-time for a while.
Yeah.
We were doing contract work for other studios.
We were busting our butts, though. We were working, I think, till about 3 p.m., and then as soon as we got home, we would work on Dwerve till basically we went to sleep.
It's like midnight sometimes.
And we did that for 2 years. Like, Dwerve was life. And I remember we even decided to like work on weekends as well. We would not work as hard on weekends, but we wanted to keep pushing forward. Because like the more we got done, the more we realized that we needed to still do, and there was so much that we really felt like we had to hustle in order to get even what we have done within a reasonable amount of time. We thought we were going to have a demo and Kickstarter done probably, I think, half a year earlier than we actually did, right?
Yeah, like last spring, we're like, oh yeah, we'll be ready for next spring. But everything just, we were like, no, it's not ready. We need to polish it more. Or everything just took way longer than we thought. The demo, the trailer, the Kickstarter page, just it's a lot of work making an indie game and preparing for a Kickstarter. But we're glad we took the
haven't tried
time
dashing
to
through
do that.
bushes. It's you can dash through bushes. It's pretty satisfying.
It is pretty fun.
I see a lot of people playing this game and they totally forget about the dash. We might need to remind people to do it again later, or have a section where they have to dash. I'm not sure how we could force people to dash, but it's a way for you to escape enemies, but it also has a knockback.
Have you had any interesting comments about people who play tested the game? I guess if you mean feedback, we've got a lot of really useful feedback. Some people, because it's awkwardly, not awkwardly, but it's new. It's a new kind of blend. Some people want it to be a little more tower defensey. Some people want it more like action RPG-y.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten a lot of good feedback regarding like things like tower placement. Like right now, it snaps to the grid, and there's no visual indicator, so it's easy to like misplace a turret. So that's something we want to improve upon. People have had like a little bit of difficulty seeing the indicators we have in the garrisons, so that's another area, like improving the user interface. So we've gotten a lot of valuable feedback that we plan to address as soon as the Kickstarter ends. You know, feedback is super important to game development. Hearing all the things that are wrong with the game is critical to making the game awesome. So, you know, if any of you are devs, have people play test your game early, frequently, and thoroughly, and always try and get people that haven't played it before to also play test it, because sometimes there's an issue and people may get used to it, and you don't want people to get used to like, oh, this is weird, but I get used to it. You want to solve those problems early on.
That's a good point.
And that's so making this demo public and, you know, participating in the Steam Games Festival, those are very important parts to game development.
We have to also make sure that we stay true to our vision, because a lot of times someone will play the game and they want the game to be something different. So a common thing that we might hear is people want Dwerve to have attacks and abilities, and then we're like, wait a minute, so you basically want it to be a hack and slash? That completely gets rid of what makes Dwerve unique. If we want to make sure that we focus on the towers, not on Dwerve having abilities and then just it becoming a hack and slash game where the towers become sort of like an afterthought. We want to put the towers on the forefront of the gameplay.
Yeah, but at the same time, we are also trying to kind of like expand the appeal to people that may want more tower defense or more actiony. So one example is we plan to add a couple more traps. So traps are cheaper than turrets, so you can place more of them, and the enemies ignore them. So it's a little bit more like a traditional tower defense game where the enemies just kind of walk by and take damage or get slowed.
Like these right here, the tar trap and the spike trap in the demo.
Yeah, so the traps should cater a little more towards people that prefer more traditional tower defense experience. And then we do plan to add a couple abilities. It won't be like a full-fledged hack slash combat, but we do add to plan a couple of like attacks with cooldowns. Like one example is a hammer smash. So you'll smash the ground and it'll knock all the enemies around you back. You can't like spam this like an action game, but it'll be a little more active for people that want a bit more of an active role in combat.
Originally, we didn't even have an attack for Dwerve, and after people being like, please give Dwerve an attack, we were like, yeah, all right, we'll give Dwerve an attack. And currently we have the boomerang attack and we have the dash. So the dash is kind of an ability that you can use.
Will there be different game modes? So we actually unlocked boss rush mode on the Kickstarter. That was a stretch goal early on. So we will have that game mode. Aside from that, there's no guarantees, but we do have a lot of cool ideas for extra game modes that we would like to add to the game eventually. A lot of these things like multiplayer game modes, additional platforms, they're basically on our wish list. And if the game does well after launch, we want to keep tackling as much as we can and keep expanding the game. Any tips for a solo indie developer? If you're working by yourself, the best tip is work small. Keep the scope small. Do not have a lot of art assets or a lot of features. Really make an effort to minimize the scope, because otherwise you will get overwhelmed or it will take you forever to finish the game. I think that's the best tip to give to any starting indie developer, especially someone that's solo.
There's games that have literally been in development for like 10 years by some indie devs, and what was it? What's the game that was in development for 10 years?
It was 7 years. Oh, Owlboy was 10 years. That's right, Owlboy.
Yeah.
And there was another one, Antichamber, I think, was 7 years.
Antichamber was ridiculously long too.
Yeah. You know,
there's
generally you don't.
There's a couple of environmental secrets. We'll add a lot more. We made this one pretty obvious, but there's a hidden chest up here, and we plan on adding a lot more little like secrets like this, and they'll show you lore and reveal and give you stuff like a secret treasure chest. I think we plan to have a secret treasure chest in every single level, at least one secret, so that way it rewards people who like to explore.
Have you looked into pet classes from popular games like Diablo's Necromancer / Druid or Torchlight's Engineer? We haven't looked into them. That's another one of those things that's like we're a small team and we need to focus on like the core features, the core gameplay, and the main storyline. Maybe someday we'll add stuff like that. We would like to give Ari kind of a more active role in the game. But that's something that's more on our wish list and something we'll explore, once the game's a little more completed. That being said, thank you for those references. We would definitely check out how those pet classes kind of work in those games.
What was the pet Airy goal? We had a stretch goal that was that you get to pet Airy. I think we reached it, right?
Oh yeah. I think their question was more about adding like pets into the game.
No, I know. It just reminded me of that stretch goal.
Yeah, so we do have a pet Airy goal, and we did reach that. So you'll be able to pet Airy. That should be a fun little thing to do.
I had a friend literally tell me that's why they backed the Kickstarter.
That's pretty funny. Is there a battle where you have to set up a giant maze of towers? Probably not in the main. Well, maybe. We would like to add some pretty crazy battles and unique levels where you just kind of do silly things, or not silly, but like just something crazy or different. And we will consider that. If not, we do have some cool ideas for game modes we'd like to add eventually. So maybe you will see something like that in the final game.
Someone asks, has speedrunning been something kept in mind during development?
Yeah,
I guess, someone speed ran the demo, right? Like 18
yeah, so
minutes.
someone did speed ran the demo in about 18 minutes. In general, our game's a little different than other games you can speedrun because you have to finish a battle, which is basically set on like timers.
Yeah, you have to wait for the waves. There's not really a way to speed up the waves.
Yeah, so you can speedrun the game. It's just a little bit different because of that limitation. But yeah, a lot of people have expressed interest in speedrunning the game. I don't know if we'll add in like an official like speedrun timer to the actual game, but it is something that people have been looking forward to. You should be able to do regardless. So yeah. How did you guys find each other? So Peter and I met in college. We studied game design and development at the University of Central Florida, which is in Orlando, and we met Morty and Inche just online. We posted about our game and what we were looking for, and we just kind of looked around. Inche we found on Twitter, and Morty I believe responded to a posting on a forum or something like that. So
yeah, what's the Reddit? Yeah.
Reddit, okay, Reddit. Yeah, I posted like everywhere.
A lot of students after college, their number one priority was to get a job, and I was looking for people that wanted to make games like an indie game, and it's actually a lot rarer than I thought. Most people, they want to work in AAA, and PJ showed interest in wanting to make an indie game after school as well. And before Dwerve, we actually met quite a few people that were sort of in Orlando. There's a pretty big indie scene in Orlando actually. And we met a bunch of people. There was even a club for it where indie devs would meet up and talk with each other. So that's how we ended up meeting a lot of people that were into indie game development. And I think most cities, they're going to have at least the global game jam. So if you ever want to meet people that are into creating indie games, go to the global game jam in your city.
Any other style of games you would like to make in the future, perhaps a RPG? So we have a lot of game ideas. Of course, a lot of them are like fantasy or like some sort of mid-core genre like strategy or RPG. We have a lot of ideas we would like to get to. We like prevent ourselves from like thinking about them too much because you know how it is. If you're a game developer, like you always want to like stop your current project to make a new game.
It's easy to get excited about another game idea and then start thinking about that before you even finish your idea. And that's really detrimental to a project. You don't want to have, I think it's called shiny object syndrome, right? I think that's what it's called.
Something like that, yeah.
Where you're always latching onto your newest ideas.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of cool ideas. A lot of them are mid-core. You know, they're like in the same like realm. We do have ideas for like a turn-based kind of tactics game that's really streamlined for like a mid-core mobile experience. We have an idea for, okay, so the sequel to Dwerve, it probably won't be called Dwerve. It'll probably be a different character that still exists in the same world. and it'll be a tower offense dungeon crawler. So a bit of a spoiler there. A tower offense dungeon crawler. That will likely be the sequel to Dwerve if Dwerve does successful and people would like more. So yeah, we do have ideas that we would like to pursue after Dwerve. Best way to I just lost it in the chat, just like it went while I was reading it. Crap.
Yeah, thanks for complimenting the lights and shadows. It took us forever to get that working right. Yeah,
it did.
That wasn't very simple.
Best way to practice. Oh, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and it's still something that we're working on. There's a lot of cool post-processing stuff in Unity. I think in the trailer you can see that we had it also rain in an area, so we can change the lighting. Like you can walk into an area and we can make it start becoming gloomy. So there's a bunch of cool post-processing and lighting stuff that we're still getting better at and experimenting with for Dwerve.
Best way to practice and improve your pixel art. So definitely watch Pixel Pete's tutorials. And another recommendation is to find an existing kind of asset pack and create characters or environmental assets in their style. Kind of emulate it or use their assets as a base. But really studying in general pixel art from artists that are good.
I would like, if you're not using something commercially, I would literally copy art that your favorite pixel artists draw, because in the process of drawing it, you're going to learn so much about how to do pixel art. So I don't think there's anything wrong with copying pixel art as long as you're not posting on the internet and calling it your own. But it's a great way to learn. So originally, when I wanted to get better at drawing, I would draw Dragon Ball Z characters, and it made me learn anatomy.
Will there be different difficulty modes? Yes. We will definitely have easy, medium, hard difficulty modes, and maybe we'll do something crazier like impossible or something. But yes, we definitely want to make sure the game has difficulty settings.
It's hard to do difficulty settings for something like Dwerve though, because if we do anything that's not very simple, then we would have to rebalance the entire game. It's not really like we can spawn less enemies, in every single spawn for the entire game. That'd be extremely difficult to pull off. So if we do create difficulties, it might be something a lot simpler, like changing the amount of health Dwerve has. So we'll experiment with stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do stats, because if we do like redesigning like a battle, that'll take way too long.
Yeah, we can't rebalance every battle.
Yeah, so we'll maybe make the enemies a little bit slower, a little bit weaker, space out how the timing between the spawn waves. So definitely stat-based stuff.
Hopefully, just increasing health will help a lot of people.
Is the world one big map?
Kind of, yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So a lot of people have talked about this, and it's like we did want it to feel like it's an open world. So you go from one area to another. It doesn't feel like you're selecting levels. So it does have sort of an open world vibe where you can backtrack. You can kind of choose where you go. Of course, we're pushing the player forward because of the story, but it does have a bit of an open world vibe. So for example, here I just got to the Fort Stonewall. It wasn't a level. I approached it. And but this is basically like a whole new level, this entire fort.
Yeah, so the game world won't be as open as like Zelda games exactly, but you will be able to kind of like backtrack within a level, and we'll also have like a mechanism for like traveling to different locations. We want it to feel really open, and to have some like kind of some flexibility about where you go without making it one, too linear or too open. So a nice middle ground is what we're aiming for in terms of the game world.
Right. We're cool with having you walk around everywhere with Dwerve. However, we don't want to make it tedious. So we're definitely going to allow for if you want to, for example, replay a level, there'll definitely be a menu so that you can teleport back to a previous level.
Are there quests or side quests? So each level has like a main objective, and that's kind of like that is your quest. We might add some side quests, It's definitely not going to be like like an open world. You kind of go find people and do some random quests. It's going to be a little more kind of narrative driven, where as you go through each level, you'll have specific objective and sub objectives, and you'll work to kind of do that for that particular level. So we've been going for a while now, and we are streaming again tonight at 8. Should we wrap? Oh, you want to show a little bit of the sandbox before we wrap up?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like a lot of people might have joined,
Yeah, let's
during
do
the
it. Let's do
story.
it. That's a good idea.
So super quick, this is a sandbox level where we show off a bunch of different towers. So I'll show you guys some towers that were not in the demo. This right here is a punch tower, and it punches enemies into pits. So if there's a really strong enemy, it doesn't matter how much health it has, because you can just punch it into the tower. Then we have a chakram tower, and with this one, the blades bounce around the walls, which is really good in small areas like this right here. They also have a knockback as well, so it can knock enemies into pits as well. This right here is called the workbench, or you can call it Slaw's shop. And as you can see, there's a bunch of towers here. We don't have upgrades done for all of them, but basically there's going to be a skill tree for every single tower. So you'll be able to kind of customize how you want that tower to act. So for example, the arrows might become fire arrows, or they might bounce off of enemies or pierce through enemies. So there's going to be a lot of sort of this RPG skill tree customization with the towers. It should be a lot of fun. And this is what you end up spending the scrap on, the coins that you pick up in the demo. I know some people ask, what do I use those coins for? This is what it's going to be used for. It's going to be used for upgrading your towers. This is also where you choose your loadout. And you'll be able to choose a loadout in pretty much every level. We'll have these workbenches throughout every level, so that way if you're having difficulty with a fight, you can just try a new tower, a different tower.
I'll run through these questions kind of quick, because I'm falling behind a little bit. So we use Unity to make the game, Unity C#. So yes, if you back the $15 digital tier, or yeah, the $15 tier, the digital copy of the game is for any platform that's unlocked. So that means, if we reach the Switch goal, we'll send a survey out at the end of the Kickstarter, and you can pick whether you want a Steam key or a Switch copy.
I think I had the volume too loud there. Sorry, guys.
Since your game has a lot of pixel art, have you considered a high bit style? I'm actually not familiar with that. I'll have to check that out though.
Yeah, I'm not sure what high bit is. Does that mean very detailed pixel art? That's what I would assume.
Are you using Unity lighting? We are not using Unity lighting. We actually added lighting way before they even came out. So we're using a Unity asset called Smart Lighting 2D. And yeah, we added that before Unity came out, and even when it did come out, it didn't have the features we needed. It might now. I would definitely look into it now to see if it does. But yeah, we already have implemented it. It works. It does what we need it to. So we're probably gonna stick with the current lighting system. Yeah, there's no reason to switch if it works and it's performant, and honestly, it's very flexible. There's a lot of settings and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not sure that the Unity lighting can do as much as we can with this lighting system.
Yeah, when I first came out, I looked into it, and I know there were some limitations, but that was a while ago. Is there a winter snow area? Not currently. We thought about it, and we decided we want to stick with like indoor mountainy kind of themes. So we have a different kind of like cave sub biome. So we have like the fungi caves, the crystal caves, a bunch of like different kind of cave biomes.
With the snow area, we had difficulty thinking of how it could look really cool. We were like, man, it's just gonna be like shades of white, shades of gray. It's gonna be tough to make snow look really cool. We tried to make every biome in the game have something interesting about it. So for example, the magma mines, we knew we were gonna do a lava zone, but we figured to make it more interesting, if we make it mines, we'll have a lot of neat props like giant furnaces and lava spilling over, etc. So with the snow biome, we did think about it, but I think we had a hard time really making it something that people would love to look at visually.
Another thing is too, the main protagonist faction in the game is trolls, and like the whole, I guess the whole lore and history and backstory, it's all about events that kind of took place inside the mountain. So we were kind of deciding, okay, which ideas don't fit as well. We kind of decided to rule that one out. Then again, someone asked about DLC, so you never know. If we did DLC, we would definitely want, you know, fresh enemies, fresh
Right.
areas. So there's a lot of cool ideas that we did have. It was more about like, okay, you know, we want to keep the scope reasonable, so let's pick, you know, 5 or 6 biomes for now, and you know, if we do add DLC, we can, you know, add these other biomes later on as well. So to answer a DLC question, hopefully, we would love to do that. In regards to Orcs Must Die, yes, Orcs Must Die is a big inspiration for Dwerve. We love that game. I remember, I think I played it first. I think it's been like 10 years now, but I remember playing that with my brother, and I was like, whoa, I love the blend of tower defense and RPG. It's a lot of fun, and of course they have a lot of cool traps. So we did get inspiration for some of our traps from them. How much will it cost? We have not decided on a final release price yet. It definitely won't be less than the Kickstarter price.
Right, right. I wanted to mention that. You're definitely gonna get stuff out of supporting the Kickstarter.
Will Dwerve have a merch shop after launch? So yes, it'll actually happen after the Kickstarter. We want to allow people that missed the Kickstarter to back the game. Late backing, basically.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna link to halfhumangames.com, right?
Yeah, you can link to the we'll link to the late backing shop on the website, and we'll post about it. So if you can't back before the Kickstarter ends, you'll be able to after. Yeah, so let's see. Yes, so ideally you'd help us back before so we can reach that Switch goal though.
Right.
But if you do miss it, you would be able to. When is the beta testing start? So winter or maybe early next year is what we're aiming for.
We want to have a nice chunk of content done before we have you guys beta test, because we know if we show it to you guys too soon, then there's going to be plenty of feedback that you guys have on stuff that we plan on fixing or improving anyway. We also want to do something called white boxing, and white boxing is where you sort of build out the whole game with white boxes. We don't need to use white boxes, but the point is in 3D games, usually they'll make an entire level just using white boxes, so that way they can play test through it and decide what needs to get changed. We don't want you guys to end up play testing things that we end up completely scrapping, removing, or changing drastically. So when we have these big chunks of game done, then we'll have you guys play through them. And yeah, we're gonna need feedback. There's gonna be a lot of playtesting needed for this game, so we're really excited for everyone that's joining the Discord and everyone that's backing. I think it's $40 and up to be part of the beta tester program.
Yeah, let me link to that. So we have a Discord community. It's very active. We have game developers in there and fans. We have channels for feedback, asking us questions, programming art, and then of course, you know, if you haven't yet, please consider backing us on Kickstarter. And here's the link to the Kickstarter. We have a lot of cool rewards. We have shirts, posters, a decorative SNES style box, an art book. So you know, lots of cool stuff you can get for supporting us.
I think we're gonna end the stream now.
Yeah, we've been going for a while.
Yeah, but just a reminder that we will do a stream later tonight, and we're gonna show the Hall of Heroes, which is where all the monuments are going to be.
Yeah, so the final stream is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time or GMT -4. If we missed any of your questions, I apologize. You can follow up with us on our Discord server and ask us on there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you guys enjoyed the stream.
Hopefully, we're celebrating the reaching the Kickstarter goal in that stream.
Yeah, it's a nice stream. Yeah.
All right, peace out,
guys.
guys.
See you.